So, welcome to the Dream Chasers podcast.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you as my first guest. And I thought it would be amazing to have you as my first guest because you are my mentor extraordinaire slash second mom slash everything. So, I want to tell the audience a little bit more about you and kind of properly introduce you.
Sure.
And why I asked you to be my first guest. So, this is Mrs. Carolyn Knowles. And I've asked her to be here as the person to explain to us how to approach womanhood from a holistic way, because I think that from watching you over the years, I feel like that's what you've modeled for me. So not only are you a career woman, you served in the military, you're a published author, now a real estate licensed realtor. And so you've done all of these incredible things. And I just really wanted to kind of pick your brain on how you can help young women like me avoid some of the pitfalls of chasing their dreams, whether in their corporate America or other fields of study. So with that, would you tell the audience a little bit more about you?
Sure. Well, Jaya, I am excited to be here with you, and I'm excited to be your first guest.
Thank you.
And I love you like my daughter, too, so this is just wonderful. And I look forward to this opportunity because if it's something that I can do in a small way or a big way to inspire someone to be their great self, then I'm all for it. I have to start out by saying God is the main focus.
Right.
And I learned this really young in life. As you know, I come from very humble beginnings.
Yes.
And even in that setting, I had a single mom who really instilled great morals and ethics in me. So it didn't matter if it was a poor environment or an environment to which I'm able to be in today. I carry those things still within me.
Right.
So womanhood starts with becoming a part of this world, going through childhood, and you get lots of lessons in childhood. And for me, a lot of my childhood led me to believe in negative motivation. And this may not sound good, but it's true.
Yeah.
And in the words of your husband, truth is power.
It absolutely is.
My mother was the negative motivation in my life. And she was the sweetest person. I love her dearly. But she came in this world not being wanted. And because of the way she came in this world, she was always looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
And it led to a life of misery, really, for her. Her early years were full with a lot of trauma, and she had God in her life, and that really got her through. And she stressed the importance of having God. So for me, whatever I did, it always got me back to God. So after going through those childhood years and getting to college, that was a big thing because where I came from, not a lot of us went to college.
Right.
Most of my friends, a lot of my friends got pregnant, and that led to a life that was probably not one that they really wanted, and it caused them to struggle a little bit more. So this womanhood thing is something that I grew into. There were no role models that I just knew. There were no mentors that said, I want to mentor you.
Right.
It was me looking at people on TV, finding people that I thought, I wouldn't mind looking like that person.
Right.
And you have to remember from my time frame, from my period of living, skin color played a major factor.
Absolutely.
And I was dark. So being dark back in those days was not beautiful. You know, when James Brown came up with this, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Yes.
That was good for the darker skinned women.
Right.
People started seeing our beauty. So you had to get to a place of accepting yourself as being beautiful. I was always smart, but I never thought I was beautiful until I was about in the 10th grade.
Wow.
And it's amazing the things that you think are ugly, other people may think
are
is
beautiful. That is so powerful.
Yes.
That you were able to go within and find strength from the negative motivation.
Yes.
Like hearing that is super powerful, and it resonates with me because I was the opposite. So I was told I could do things, I was encouraged, but feeling that within myself came later. So to hear that you innately were able to turn negative motivation into something positive is like something that I want to commend you for, because now that's what I'm able to take from you, and others will be able to take from you, as far as if no one else is saying you can do these things, or you're recognizing from your environment that it's not the most positive environment and it's not what you match with or you see yourself with, you can still find a way to make something positive out of that.
And something you just said I think is very important. You used the word innate.
Yes.
I think some of us are born with innate capabilities that we have to sometimes find within ourselves.
Yes.
And I think God allows us to identify those things within us, because I've learned a long time ago what's within you will come out of you.
Yes.
And whether that's good or whether that's bad, it's going to come out.
That's true.
And then once it comes out, it will affect all the people around you. So one of the things I try to do is let most of the good come out. Now, I can tell you, I'm a Gemini, and there are two sides to me.
I am aware.
I can be the sweetest person, but I can be nice nasty too if I have to. I will not be rude, but I can be nice nasty. And you will get what I'm talking about when I want you to.
Right.
But I think that having God to even help you in how you deal with people and how you tell them something negative.
Right.
But in a positive way, so that they can receive it in the way that you're wanting them to. So back to this negative motivation, I think you can't just live your life that way, though.
Agreed.
I think once you find that negative motivation, you turn it into something positive.
Right.
And then you go forth with the positivity. So once I became a college student and I had all this freedom, as college students need to know, you're in a really great place because you're kind of a adult,
right?
But then you still get to be kind of a kid,
right?
And that's a good place to be. And you get to find out who you really are.
Absolutely.
You get to experience things and determine, do I want to be this or do I want to be that? But you get the opportunity to choose, and I think that's what life is all about: having those choices,
right?
And choosing to make the right decision. But if you make the wrong decision, learning from it and not doing that again.
Right.
So I think with this womanhood thing, it's something that you learn as you go. You go from child to teenager to woman.
Right.
And once you're a woman, it doesn't stop there.
No.
It evolves into different kinds of women.
Yeah.
And I like that book that Michelle Obama had out called Becoming.
Yes.
Because we're always becoming something.
Absolutely.
You know, becoming a professional, becoming a mom, becoming a best friend,
right?
Becoming an authentic being, becoming a Christian.
Yeah.
Just becoming and always wanting to become and always wanting to evolve. I think that is just a trait that we should always try to keep as we're evolving into the woman that we want to eventually become.
I love that. And I've gotten a chance to study you and witness you, and you are a lifelong learner. Where do you think that stems from? Do you think that came from your childhood, or is that something that you've learned in your pathway in womanhood?
You know, I had a seventh grade teacher, and this is always funny when I think about it. I always thought I was smart. I always knew I was smart because I was always told I was smart.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I never went to first grade. I went from kindergarten straight to second grade.
Wow.
And I was always on that track of being smart. But what I find is that a lot of times you're not as smart as you think you are. When I was in seventh grade, I loved to read. And there were others in the class that were smart like me who loved to read. But my teacher would say, who wants to read this paragraph? And we'd go, I do. And she said, okay, Carolyn, read that paragraph. And I'd just read it and like the way my voice sounded. And then she would say, explain.
Oh.
And I'm like, excuse me? You want me to explain that? But what I learned from it was you had to get the context,
right?
Not just read the words,
right?
But know what you're reading and know whether or not you accept it. Do you believe it? Everything that you read, you don't have to believe. You've got to be able to read it and determine if you are for it or if you're against it. If you're for it, you advocate for it.
Right.
If you're not for it, then you don't.
Exactly.
But that was a lesson I learned in 7th grade.
Wow.
Whereas, you've got to be able to understand what you're reading, and you've got to be smart about it. And smart is not just calling words. Smart is understanding and then doing.
Right.
So that was a major lesson for me about, being smart.
Yeah. Wow. So you have had quite the journey so far. And I say so far because I know you are far from done. But as you matriculated through college, I know that you joined ROTC. And you've explained to me, like, for college life, one of your major things is that you were still using that negative motivation to help you further define what you wanted versus what you knew you did not want. How did college continue to help you refine that? Were there classes that you took, or were there just different experiences that you can remember that really stand out, that helped you to continue to hone in on the person that you were becoming?
Sure. I know my senior year in high school, I applied for college. I applied to 3 colleges and decided to go to St. Augustine's College. And the reason I went to St. Augustine's is because they offered this summer program. Went to the summer program, met lots of friends, got to know some professors, and I really loved it. Came back and said, that's where I'm going. So when I went to college, I had the opportunity to be around professional people, which I had not really experienced at home because, as I said, I had very humble beginnings. And we lived in the ghetto. We lived in a rundown shack, but we got good ethics and good morals, but I didn't know a lot of professional people. So being in a college environment and being able to compete and fit, I was on the dean's list every semester.
That's amazing.
And to me, that told me that I fit. I got lots of friends. In college, I pledged a sorority. In college, I went through ROTC. And that negative motivation came back again because I met my husband there, but he was my boyfriend at the time. And I brought him home to meet my mom. And I was so embarrassed because the house we lived in, he didn't know we lived in the backyard. So when he came, he went knocking on the door, people that lived in the front. And they told him, oh, she lives in the back. And of course, he came back there, and I loved him so much. And I just said, mess with it. He's going to have to see me in my real environment. So he came in and he met my mom. And to this day, we laugh about it because he said, he walked in and he said, oh, she lives in a shotgun house. And you stand in the front and you see everything straight to the back. I'm like, okay, but this is who I am. And that's who he fell in love with.
Yeah.
But he got to see me from my meager beginnings, and we grew together.
Yeah.
So in college, I had the opportunity coming from this meager beginning, but having a great heart, learning to love me, learning to love the Black me, learning to be the beautiful Black me.
Yes.
I exuded that type of confidence.
Yeah.
And it was in such a way that when I ran for Miss St. Augustine's College, I won flat out. Boom. People believed in me that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And it just kind of confirmed that confidence of being smart.
Yes.
That confidence of being intelligent, and also that confidence of being beautiful. So St. Augustine's College was a traumatic experience for me in a positive way.
Right.
And also in a negative way because it got me to get rid of those negative motivations. I started seeing my mom more in a positive light. Instead of her being a negative motivation, she became a positive motivation because she was so proud of me.
Right.
She had nothing to do with me going to college except trying to get some money. She didn't even know that I could go to college. It was about me reaching out to people, finding my way.
Yeah.
Nobody tried to help her. Nobody told her about opportunities that she could look for from me. She didn't know what to do, and I didn't either, but God had that innate thing within me to reach out to people who could tell me, apply for this grant, apply for this scholarship. And God just kind of put the right people in my path to help me become a part of what I wanted to become. I'm still becoming. So in God's sight, I want to continue to grow no matter how old I get. So when we talk about corporate or non-corporate, when we talk about profit or nonprofit, I've been in the military, I've been in the nonprofit environment, I've been in a lot of spaces. Now I'm in this space of real estate. At 69 years old, and I think I look good for 69.
Oh my gosh, no one's going to believe. They're going to want to card you, first of all, because no one's going to believe your age.
So I just think that you're never too old to learn.
That's right.
And I want to always be about learning. I want to be about becoming better and better and better until God calls me home.
I love that. I love that. And that's one of the things I admire about you most, if you didn't know, is that, you know, regardless of your many accomplishments, you're always seeking to learn and become better. So that's a jewel. That's jewel number one. Always be a life learner, no matter what, no matter your age. And as you spoke about being in all of those different spaces, what are some of the intangibles, some of the, you know, soft skills that can matriculate through those different spaces? One of the things that you mentioned is being able to advocate for yourself. So asking for help. What other intangibles are valuable?
When you say intangibles, I'm going to turn the question around and make it about characteristics.
Yes.
I think that you always have to be honest. I think honesty, integrity, morals, ethics, those things are critical because they affect the types of decisions you make.
That's true. Yep.
I think that confidence and competence are important because if I'm going to be in a leadership role, I want to know what I'm doing. But if I don't know, I want to be smart enough to seek others who know or who can tell me where to go to get the information to be in the know. But then I think it's important to be able to be a team player. So I don't always have to lead. I have to also be able to follow, but I also have to coexist and be able to contribute to the team so that we can enjoy success and victory together. So I think the intangibles or the characteristics that are important are honesty, competence, you know, things that make you make decisions that promote the type of being that you want to become.
I love that. I love that. One of the things I always try to lead with is authenticity, like being authentically yourself. So if you're authentically honest, that's something that I think is going to carry you through no matter what space you find yourself in. So I love those characteristics that you named. And so let's have a little fun.
Sure. I'm all for fun.
Yes, I know. So let's have fun. What has been the most fun experience you've had in the different spaces? Like when you think back over nonprofit, profit, education, all these different spaces that you've been in, what is one space that sticks out to you the most where when you reflect on that experience, you're like, wow, that was a huge growth period for me?
Wow. The first thing that comes to my mind, again, is my mom.
I love it.
People who know me and my husband know that my mom contributed to our lives as we contributed to hers. But in her later years, when we brought her to live with us, it was a big sacrifice, but it was one that to this day, she's gone now, but I walk through my house and she's all in that house. My husband and I, sometimes we just chuckle about the things that she say. We call them Lucille-isms.
Yes.
And I think that was such a big part of my life, being able to be so helpful to her. Because as I said, we came up in very humble beginnings, but God has blessed me tremendously with a great husband, a beautiful daughter, a beautiful home, a beautiful career, beautiful friends, authentic. So I am just truly blessed. And when I think about the things that put me in a happy place, it's being able to have allowed my mom to experience life in a traumatically, significantly great way.
Yeah.
I mean, her latter years were much better than her early years.
Yes.
And the fact that before she passed, she waited for me to get there.
Yeah.
She died from COVID, but she didn't die until I flew back from Florida. And to me, that's one of the greatest honors that I have had.
Yeah.
For her to wait for me to die before she died.
Yeah.
I was in a different state. I got a call on a Saturday. I was on the next plane that Sunday. Got to spend all that Sunday with her, and she passed through the night. But she didn't die until I got back there. So I think my greatest contribution to myself, to the world, to my mom was to be in that space with her.
Yeah.
To have my husband and my daughter in that space with her, to help her enjoy her later years.
Yeah.
We were there in her earlier years too, but she was, alive and very
she was
lively
very spry.
and very spry. But in those years when she really needed us, we were there for her.
Yeah.
And I just treasure that space, even more so than all the accomplishments that I've made.
That is so, that makes my spirit happy, just hearing that, because I feel that with everything in me, and I got to witness it. And what greater gift in the world is it than to feel like you can repay what your parent has sacrificed for you to achieve. So thank you for sharing that. Gosh, that's beautiful. I love that. Switching gears back to womanhood. I know Little Lady played a huge role in your becoming, and you wrote a book, Soul to Soul, and it was inclusive of your mother's story, your story, and your daughter Summer's story.
And your story.
And my story. Okay. And my story. And other women. And I thought the concept was so brilliant, comparing your journey to different shoes. Where did that come from? Like, how did you come up with that concept?
Once again, my mom. As I told you, she lived with us and she was diagnosed with dementia. And my mom followed me wherever I went. It's like when we lived in Missouri, we had a dog, Humphrey. And whenever we would get the leash, he would hear the leash and he'd come running. My mom, whenever I get my car keys, she'd get her coat, she'd come running too. So it's just amazing that she was the one that caused me to write this book. I knew that early in her years, she'd written some poems and she always wanted to write a book and just was never able to do that. And with the dementia, she repeated the same thing over and over. And it would drive you crazy. I would be like, Mom, you just said that. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, you know what? Get a tape recorder. And as we're driving to church or as we're driving to choir rehearsal or we're driving anywhere, as she's following me, I'd say, okay, Mom, I want you to talk into this tape recorder. I said, because we're going to write this book together. And I said, you always wanted to write a book. I said, what we're going to do is put your chapters in the book that we write together. And she was so happy about that. So the way I coped with the repetitiveness, because it was driving me crazy, I said, Mom, what I want you to do is talk into this microphone. And she could remember about her mama at this point. She was in her late 80s, early 90s. She could remember about her mama way back when, but she couldn't remember what I told her yesterday. So I said, okay, talk about mama into the mic. And I said, we're going to write a book about this, and what I'll be able to do is go back and transcribe what you did. And as I started doing that, I said, well, if I can write my mom's story, maybe I should get some stories from some other authentic women that are in my life. Mm-hmm. And then I said, then I need to have one man. And who would that one man be?
Of course.
And that would be my husband, because Absolutely. He was the one who literally took care of my mom. Mm-hmm. He was retired already. I was still working. He was the one that got her medicines together. He was the one who prepared her food. Yeah. So we had him to write a chapter in the book, and I identified 10 women, of which you were one. Yes. And you can tell us a little bit about your story too. But I had each woman to just tell us about their soul-to-soul views from the shoes. Yeah. And there were different types of shoes. So I'm going to turn this mic to you. Tell us about your shoe.
Oh my gosh. So first of all, when you approached me with it, I was like, you want me to write a story? Like, my story is not interesting. I don't need to be involved in this. I'll help, but I don't need to be involved. But that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had to first of all, pick a shoe, because that's when I still loved heels, but now my feet will not allow that. So I have the fancy sneakers, but did I choose the mount? And your book is right over there, by the way. I think I chose the hiking shoe, and it's because that period of time that was so pivotal for me was trying to figure out like who I am according to me. It was like the beginning of my journey, really the beginning of my womanhood journey. And so reflecting on the challenges of school, the challenges of listening to everyone's opinions about who Jaya should be, being told, oh, you're smart, you should do this. But no, I think I want to do this. And reflecting on that and being able to put words to that journey, it was extremely empowering because I saw myself in a different light. And so now, because of you, I get to say I'm a published author as well. But that experience lit a fire in me to also want to write a book. And it's still becoming. It's not there yet. But even that is an element of mentorship where you saw something in me that I did not see in myself, and it lit a fire in me, as I'm sure it did for the other women that wrote chapters in the book. You pour into people, it seems effortlessly, because many of us watch you from afar. We don't say anything. We watch you from afar. We're like, oh my God, I want to be like her. She's so cool. She always has it together. She is so well put together. Oh my gosh. And she has fun. So I want to take just a minute and give you your flowers, because I'm the recipient of you being my mentor as a result of my husband being your husband's mentee for what seems like forever now. But it opened a space for me in seeing womanhood modeled in a way that my mother did not model. And so I want to thank you personally for being first an unspoken mentor before it became a spoken mentor, because the way you exemplify womanhood is something that I sought. So you are a wife, you are a mother. But what I most admired about you from afar is your friendships, your long-lasting friendships, and having a life outside of just being a mom and a wife and a career woman. And so for me, the way when we talk about approaching womanhood holistically, you didn't just do it with your education. You didn't just do it with motherhood, being a wife, being a daughter. You also incorporated something so important, which is self-care. And so I want to thank you for modeling that for me and helping me to see it's possible. You know, we always say, you know, you can't have it all. And in some aspects, maybe we can't, but you do a really, really good job of balancing it all. So I just want to thank you for that as my role model for parts of womanhood that I didn't necessarily see that my mother modeled. So as we get back to talking about your journey in womanhood.
Before you do that, I'd like to just interject that it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think that somebody's just so put together all the time.
Right.
My husband calls me Harriet at nighttime, when I put my scarf on and my glasses, and he's like, baby, he said, you can go from Harriet to Diana just like that. And, to me, that I take that in jest because I think that you need to be able to be your whole self.
Yes.
And my husband has seen me at my worst,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also seen me at my best.
Yes.
So I think that we need to understand that we're not perfect and nobody's perfect, but I think it is good that we find somebody to look up to,
mm-hmm.
just to have an image.
Yeah.
But to know that we've got to find our own self.
Yes.
And have our own image and have it to be one of a positive nature for ourselves.
Right.
And to give ourselves grace.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that sometimes we're going to fall.
Yes.
We're not going to always be at the top of our game.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that there's a public side and there's a private side.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't get to see the private side.
No, they do not.
So the public facing for me is always, and I try to make it the best, but everybody doesn't see the sad times,
mm-hmm.
the tears,
right.
the ugly times,
yeah.
the times when I'm not the, quote, perfect Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Cuss word may come out every once in a while, but then it's about recognizing and saying, God, forgive me.
Right. Yep.
Human.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to stress that it's good to find somebody to look up to, but find your own self
mm-hmm.
and look up to your own self.
Absolutely.
And be proud of you.
Absolutely. And I receive that. I receive that.
Good.
Yes. So learning a bit more about the elements of this womanhood journey. One of the things I wanted to shed a light on is the financial aspects. I know that, as we graduate college or we get out of school, we start working. And in our community, not a lot of people come from financially strong backgrounds. What are some of the best pieces of advice you were given financially to kind of help set you on the path for, creating a stronger foundation for what would be your future family?
Okay. I think there's a two-part answer to that. My Christian response would be, with God, I have to put him first.
Mm-hmm.
So tithing is critical.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a growth journey.
Right.
I did not start out as a tither and all that stuff. I learned that a little later in life. So my very first professional job, I would say, would have been in the military. Coming in the military, I don't remember where or how, but it seems like there was this session where they told all the lieutenants, you need to invest in mutual funds or invest in something.
Mm-hmm.
So at an early age, I did invest in mutual funds just because didn't
right.
even know why. And we found that was something that most of the lieutenants did. So since my husband and I were both lieutenants, we were both doing this. We found that once we got married and had a child, the thought process changed.
Mm-hmm.
You start thinking now, I've got a child. We want that child to go to college. We've got
right.
to start, preparing financially for that. So we started thinking about investing from that perspective. By the time that child got of age to go to high school, we wanted to put her in private school. We made choices to use those funds
mm-hmm.
to pay for high school education, which equated to college education. But the beauty was she got a 4-year scholarship at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Nice.
Which allowed us to not have to use additional funds.
Right.
But then, after thinking about our child, we learned that that's not good enough. Legacy is about grandchildren,
right.
too. So even though we didn't have any at the time, we started thinking about better investments and looking more closely at the types of investments that we would have. Mm-hmm. And it was some ups and downs. Right. We made some mistakes, some financial mistakes, mm-hmm. but we were able to rebound, and just to show that you do make bad choices sometimes, right, with your finances. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you bounce back and sometimes you don't. Mm-hmm. God blessed us to bounce back. And I think the fact that we did start tithing and we learned that we have to put God's money first. Mm-hmm. And my husband, for example, is a giver. We would always be lending this person. Sometimes we'd get it back and sometimes we wouldn't. I would tell him, let's give what we know we won't miss. Right. So it took us a while to grow into that too. Mm-hmm. But as the years went by, I learned more about proper investing and the things that you had to do to learn the right timing. And it's about growth. It's about, I think your husband said at one time about technology. Mm-hmm. There are opportunities out there. You don't have to pay to go to college to learn a lot of things. Absolutely. You can go on the internet and find out about investments. You mm-hmm. can find out about anything. So I think it's just key to know that saving and investments are critical, because if God allows you to live, to retire, you've got to still live.
Excuse me.
So it's important to put money aside, but put it in the right things. You right. don't want to lose all your money. So it requires some research and getting with the right type of people right. who will provide the right types of advice to you.
That is awesome. I love what you said about legacy and switching gears from saving for your child to saving for your future grandchildren. How did you and your husband kind of come to the conclusion of where you find yourself now with real estate?
My husband and I are both retired. Mm-hmm. And we joke about this, but we have different definitions of what retirement should be. Right. I love a challenge. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm retired, I wanted to do something else. Mm-hmm. And the words of my husband, he says, she loves projects. So it started out, I guess, as a project that I dragged him into. So what we decided was that he would be a part of this real estate business, but we each had a role. Nice. And so his role is to support me.
Perfect.
So whatever support is, that's what he needs to do. And I will identify those support tasks as they come about. I'm the one who does all the research, all the digging. And then once I come up with a suggestion or a plan or idea, I'll present it to him. I do ensure that we have buy-in, right, because it's our money. It's not my money or his money. It's our money. So when we make a decision to do something, we have to be on the same accord. So this real estate journey had been about 2 years before we found the property that God said get.
Right.
And we got to that point. I guess it's been about 3 or 4 months, maybe 3 months now, if it's that long. And that's the first property we got. Mm-hmm. But it started about 5 years ago when the Spirit just told me, I need to get an LLC. So we have 2 LLCs.
Nice.
The first one is Knowles Enterprise, and that's the foundational LLC. Okay. That's the LLC that we use to go and do all the visiting of the properties. And so that's used as our basis. And we got information from our CPA. Mm-hmm. He told us that's the way to go. So now the second LLC is called CK and GK Holdings. So for each property that we buy, it will be a different LLC. Wow. And Knowles Enterprise will always be that baseline LLC for all of it.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Okay, again, I'm looking up to you. I'll establish my own, but I'm studying. I am studying. So we've gotten through all of the business. I want the viewers to get to know a little bit of your fun side. So I know you are a huge CeCe Winans fan, so I'm going to ask a few questions, fun questions, but just a short get to know you. So CeCe Winans is your favorite. What is your favorite song by CeCe Winans? So if she sees this, she might,
Throne Room.
Throne Room. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
I love all of her songs, but Throne Room came at a special time in my life, and I love Throne Room.
Got it. Okay. All right. You've heard it here. Throne Room is her favorite. It's her pivotal. It's her. We love all of CeCe Winans songs, but that's the favorite. Okay. What is your favorite guilty treat?
Popeye's chicken.
Oh my. I would have been way off. I would have said ice cream or
Popeye's chicken.
Popeye's chicken. Okay, Popeye's sponsorship coming. And last, what is your favorite thing about being a grandparent?
Oh, my favorite thing. Dancing and laughing with the babies.
They are beautiful.
Dancing and laughing with the babies.
They are beautiful.
We have dance party every day when we're there, and they think that they are the best dancers, so I think they are the best dancers.
Absolutely. 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 Well, I call you moms, but the world knows you as Miss Carolyn Knowles. I just want to thank you again for being my first guest on this Dream Chasers podcast. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge, and I really, really appreciate you being in my village, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. I can't wait to see how you take on this next chapter. And if you found this podcast helpful, if it helped you look at womanhood differently, please continue to watch. Thank you for watching. And I'd like
to say that I am honored to have been your first guest.
Thank you.
And I am honored to call you my daughter too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching.